Welcome to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast, Achieving Peace Through Compassion. This podcast is a recording of the Dharma Talks given during our Sunday service.
So for the past few Wednesdays, on Wednesday nights, we've been exploring the Brahma Viharas. That's the fancy Sanskrit word for the four immeasurables, or the boundless attitudes. And these are the attitudes that are cultivated to expand our awakening, our awakened heart, right? These are the heart qualities that expand our capacity to meet life with wisdom and compassion. Every Sunday morning, we repeat the four immeasurables, right? We just did this morning again. And sometimes it's easy to kind of repeat those in rote repetition. But this is really a foundation of our practice and of our day-to-day life as Dharma practitioners. The capacity to meet the world, to meet life, to meet samsaric, cyclic existence with wisdom and compassion. Now, the first of these immeasurables is metta, right? And metta is often translated as loving kindness. This is the wish that all beings will be happy, just like we said this morning, right? May all beings be happy. The second is Karuna, or compassion. And this is the wish that all beings be free from suffering. We say this in our four immeasurables, right? May all beings be free from suffering. This is compassion. The third is mudita, sympathetic joy. And that is the ability to take delight in the happiness of others. It gets harder as you go along, right? It's easy to wish for people to be happy, right? Sometimes it's not as easy to rejoice in the good fortune of others. We can get to thinking about, well, why did I not get that? And today we are reflecting on the fourth of these boundless attitudes, and it's Upeksha, or equanimity. Now, I think it's worth mentioning, as always, that none of these Sanskrit or Pali words translate perfectly and literally into English. We say loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, and these are really our best approximations. But each of these words points to a vast living quality of heart that can't quite be pinned down by language. So this is really you got to do it to know it, right? It's a practice. It's not enough to talk about it or think about it. If the first three immeasurables are like the bright petals of an open heart, equanimity is the stem that holds them steady. So all of these work in conjunction. You have to have all of them, right? Without this stem, without equanimity, our kindness, our compassion can get a little wobbly, right? They can get knocked about by our preferences or our biases. Remembering that the Brahma Viharas, these boundless attitudes, are all-encompassing. If I am only compassionate to you because I like you and I think your t-shirt is awesome, that's only compassion. But the boundless attitude of compassion includes all beings, even the ones I don't care for. In the book that we are using as our text on Wednesday nights, it's written by Alan Wallace. He writes that equanimity rounds off the other three immeasurables, loving kindness, compassion, and empathetic joy, and brings them to a profound state of balance. That balance is what allows our love and our compassion to mature, to become reliable and wise. Wisdom and compassion. Now, I don't know what the past 11 months have been like for you, but there are so many days when I can hardly bear to read the news, right? The abuses of power, the wars, the racism, injustice, the very real threat of ethnic cleansing and fascism and a police state creeping in on us. It's scary. And every time I think about it, I feel my chest begin to tighten. And I think I just can't do this today. Today, I'm not going to do this. So I close the browser, I put the phone down, and I tell myself, I'm choosing peace. Today, I'm choosing peace. But the truth is, that's not peace. That's just avoidance, right? It may look like calm, but inside, I know it's just a form of indifference. And that is the enemy of equanimity. Indifference is the enemy of equanimity. Alan Wallace warns us that the near enemy is stupid indifference. It may look superficially like equanimity, but fundamentally, it is utterly different. This is because true equanimity doesn't turn away. It doesn't look the other way. It doesn't numb itself to pain. Equanimity feels everything and still remains steady. This is our Tonglen practice, right? When we are doing our Tonglen practice with full devotion and concentration, we are trying to truly feel the suffering of others and remain steady without being toppled or overcome by it. That's the challenge for me, to stay present to the suffering of the world without collapsing under it, without retreating into false calm. Equanimity is like an utterly calm ocean. When we cultivate equanimity, the mind is completely even, but that doesn't mean that the ocean has no waves. It only means that its depths remain undisturbed by surface storms. Most of the movement of the water in the ocean is at the surface, right? There may be huge crashing waves, but the depths are still and steady. Equanimity allows us to hold love, compassion, and joy in that deep, steady awareness. And without it, compassion can burn out. Joy can become clinging or attachment. And loving kindness can turn into favoritism. It's very easy to love the people we like. We've all had that wobbly feeling, I imagine. Our hearts are pulled toward those we like and away from those we don't. But equanimity invites us to include everyone, ourselves, our friends, neutral people, and even those we find difficult. Wallace, again in the book, challenges us. He writes, "See if you can develop this even sense regarding everyone. It really is utterly indispensable if you want to open the heart completely," he says. It is indispensable if you want your heart to be open, if you want to cultivate these boundless attitudes, if you want to generate bodhicitta, this altruistic motivation to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. It has to be for everyone. It begins with ourselves. That's a tall order. But it's also the most freeing thing we can do. In the Tibetan tradition, equanimity isn't some sort of like advanced attainment. There's nothing really esoteric about it. It's the foundation of the bodhisattva path, the spirit of awakening. We can't strive to alleviate the suffering of others or ourselves without this boundless attitude of equanimity. This is because our individual existence is contextual. That means that our very nature is that we are related to others. I am because you are. You are because I am. Our own well-being is related to the well-being of others. There's that quote, injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. I know it's Martin Luther King Jr., but I can't remember the actual quote. It's the sense, right? That we are connected, we are related to one another. And this is the wisdom of interdependence. Our lives are inextricably woven together. To ignore the suffering of others is to cut ourselves off from our own wholeness. When we turn our eyes the other way, we're turning away from ourselves too. Equanimity is the balance that lets us care fully, without burning out, without hardening, without falling into despair. It's what allows compassion to endure. And on the other hand, trying to serve without wisdom is ineffective. Trying to serve with intelligence but without compassion is dangerous. Equanimity brings those two together. It's where clarity and care meet. Now, in practice, equanimity begins with noticing when the mind leans, when there's a tendency either toward grasping or toward aversion, when we want to pull something closer or push something away. So, we've practiced in our meditation today, and I want to remind us of a very brief and basic exercise that we can engage in to begin cultivating equanimity. This is a micro meditation. Are you ready? Bring to mind someone you love easily. Maybe it's someone sitting right next to you or someone at home. Now hold that person in your heart and wish them well. And now bring to mind someone neutral. Be a stranger that you passed today, wish them well. Now bring to mind someone difficult, perhaps somebody whose mere mention or whose voice can cause you to have a conniption fit. I know who y'all are thinking about. Can you wish him well? Finally, include yourself and rest in the awareness that holds all four equally. All right. One of my favorite refrains in Tibetan Buddhism, we've heard from many teachers, is that we ought to regard one another as though you are my mother. Because in some lifetime you have been. Right? And so we regard everyone, not just the people we like, with boundless love, with boundless compassion. You might feel resistance when you're doing this practice, especially as you think of those who cause you trouble. That's okay. With each time that we do this, we are softening those boundaries. Each time we include one more person in our circle of care, the heart grows a little more boundless, like the Grinch. Equanimity does not mean we don't care. It means we care deeply, but without losing our center. I want to say that again because that's important, and especially in times like these. It's so easy to get swept away. Equanimity does not mean we don't care. It means that we care deeply, but without losing our center. It's a way of resting in spacious acceptance, allowing wisdom and compassion to guide us through gain and loss, through praise and blame, through joy and sorrow, the earthly concerns. When the world feels chaotic, equanimity is the still heart at the center of the storm. It reminds us that we can meet life's changes with clarity and balance, not by withdrawing, but by staying open. May we each find that calm ocean within us. May we learn to stay present without despair, and may all beings benefit.
Thank you for listening to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast. Music was provided by Barefoot Bran Music. Please consider supporting the Rime Buddhist Center by making a donation at our website at www.rimecenter.org/donate.